Hello. Welcome to Remote Control. The Twitch thing where we play games and talk to devs. I'm your host, Matt. Today we're going to be playing StarCrossed with Contigo Games. Let's just, I guess, start with a quick round of introductions going across. So I'm the stream manager for Wonderville, he, him. I'll be sort of hosting tonight, asking questions, making sure that the stream stays up, etc. With me is... That's Yiyi. You're next.
Oh, shit. Hi, I'm Yiyi. I am also obviously involved with Wonderville, and also in NYC, I do a lot of community management in the general game development scene, which is how I got connected to all of these lovely people, and I will be a player tonight.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark, he, him. I'm a co-owner of Wonderville, and I'm really excited to play StarCrossed. We were hoping to have it live at the arcade, but with the pandemic, we're excited to play remotely.
Hello, my name is Mike. I'm a programmer and gameplay designer on StarCrossed with Contigo Games. And then I also work as a senior software engineer at DOTS in New York City.
Hey, and hi, I'm Francesca, she, her. I was the narrative designer and producer for StarCrossed, but I am primarily a game designer currently working at Fulbright.
All right. And since we are all distant and this is a local co-op game, we're going to be using Steam's remote play function to do this, which seems really cool in theory, and we're going to see if it works in practice again.
Yeah, we have been pleasantly surprised by it. So
it seems really good. Yeah. Mark, did you get an invite for this?
I saw a pop-up, but I can't find it.
Okay, well we're going to
send it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wait, there it is. Game.
Did it work? Are you in?
I'm in. Well, I'm loading.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you're in. So how this basically works is Mark and E are basically using Steam to spoof my keyboard so that they can play this game. So you should both now be in game.
Working for me.
Yeah, Mark, do you want to be player 2? So that's going to be arrow keys, then question mark, big caret, little caret.
Mark, are you on a gamepad or keyboard?
I am on a keyboard. I'll use the keyboard controls.
Okay, I will also.
But I'll
Perfect.
use the arrows and the two-player controls.
nice.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's just start by hopping into story mode.
Yeah, totally. Should we kick it off by giving a little pitch of like...
Please do. Yes.
So I'll get, like the quick elevator pitch. So StarCrossed is a 2-player cooperative action arcade game about magical girls in space. So we have 5 different heroes that you can choose from, but you pair them into like couples in order to be able to play the game with the 2 players. So the different combinations of characters have different, so each character has a different ultimate abilities. You can kind of, mix and match their abilities. But you also get different dialogue conversations between the characters as well. So you're able to like find out more about them and their relationship and kind of their perspective on the story and the universe as you play through the game. Do you want to talk about gameplay a little bit?
You should introduce the story, because I can talk about gameplay once it's easier to talk about when the characters are moving around on the screen.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that sounds good. So like we're starting off story mode. So StarCrossed features both a story mode and an arcade mode. So arcade mode is more procedurally generated. You can jump in, try to get a high score. And story mode is a little bit more curated. So we're going on this epic quest to save the galaxy with our cast of very sparkly and very cute magical girls.
So cute.
Yeah, our character artist is fantastic. She is at Basil Bay with an E at the end on Twitter. And yeah, she did all of our character designs and also the 2D like portrait art, like the emote art for the characters. And I'm so happy. They turned out so great. And yeah, I love them so much. So and our cast features both, so we have magical girls and we also have magical non-binary characters as well. So we wanted to take that like classic magical girl genre, but kind of expand it to be a little more inclusive and kind of put a twist on it in terms of the story beats and things like that.
So that opening Oops, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That opening cutscene is when all the characters who don't know of each other yet all happen to meet at this kind of galactic concert.
It's kind of like Eurovision, but in space. Was kind of our thought behind it.
They're all there for their own reasons, celebrating, the concert, the idol who is performing. But the Harmony Crystal actually gets stolen at the end of the concert. It's tragic. We don't know who stole it yet. But idol and hero meet here, and then they fly away.
And then they fly away and save the universe. Yeah.
I was trying to lead into the gameplay, but I ran out of some things to say.
Well, it's the classic like chosen guardians of space imbued with thick-ass crystal power. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're borrowing very heavily from the established like magical girl genre, but also like if you think about like very classic like team superhero shows like Power Rangers, even it's the same sort of like cast of characters from different backgrounds. They're coming together to like achieve a common goal, and a lot of it is about teamwork and learning to work together and figuring out how to get past your differences so you can collaborate, which is exactly what it is like playing a collaborative multiplayer game. So we thought it fit really well in terms of theming.
Yeah, and so the game plays like an old arcade shooter, but instead of shooting bullets, the weapon is actually the star bouncing between both characters. So both the players need to use their positioning and work together in order to guide that star into their enemies. Are both of you actually playing over the remote play right now?
Yes.
We are.
And
Yes.
I wanted to check in before we go much further.
How's it
How is the
looking?
lag?
It's a little wonky, but it's okay.
Okay.
It's a little hard to time the impact of the
Mhm.
star.
I
Yeah, so
will
that's
say,
It's completely playable.
yeah. Usually
great.
you wouldn't have the person who is running the game, in this case me, not playing, but for various reasons that made the most sense with the stream setup.
Oh, totally.
Absolutely. Yeah, we found that it works pretty reliably, the steep remote play. So we actually used it a lot because we're actually a remote team. So we used it a lot during very late stages of development, actually just for playtesting and like working together on the game, which was really useful. That was great.
Team like announced this feature and dropped it like partway through our development, and we just looked at it and went, "What?"
Yeah,
And we like immediately started testing the game with it. It was perfect.
Well,
And it was
it's
because
funny.
previously. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I was wondering if you developed this for COVID because it seemed perfect for the quarantine that people could like play this remotely.
Yeah, no, I mean, we were really fortunate. I think that Steam decided to drop that feature when they did. Because I think what you're going to say is that we really considered, we had a big conversation with our development team of like, are we going to build in like multiplayer, like online multiplayer? And because we're, a very small team with limited resources, we decided not to. And then Steam was like, here you go, we did it for you. And that was really great.
And it was tough too, like in development, because the game is it's designed primarily to be played co-op. Like you can play it by yourself, but the intention is to be played co-op. So when we're like working on the game at our own computers, we're mostly playtesting it by ourselves. So having with a remote team trying to playtest the game, the remote play actually made it possible for us to test the design of the game with each other over the internet, which was really really handy.
Yeah.
So I know both the art book and the Kickstarter for this game. By the way, this game came from a Kickstarter. We'll talk more about that later. But before I forget, because I want to say this as early as possible, this thing is available on itch, available on Steam, runs on PC, runs on Mac, runs on Xbox One, runs on Switch. Is that everything? Did I get it all?
We also have Linux.
Also Linux. I noticed that. There's a Linux build available.
Distracted.
Oh no.
Available on all of those platforms. You can grab it at playstarcrossed.com. You also have a really kick-ass art book and comic that you put out.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, so... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Remote conversation, always difficult.
Yep.
So we, the mini comic that our artist developed is a prequel actually to the game. So it kind of explains like the previous Guardians and kind of what happened. And that was actually part of our Kickstarter rewards. So that was something that we developed specifically for the Kickstarter backers. And then later we released publicly as part of this larger art book that we made. So it's a digital art book, and it includes not only like concept art and final art assets, but it also includes some like design and development notes from the team of just like what we were inspired by or where we took inspiration from, and things like that. So it also tells a little bit of our development journey.
Yeah,
It was also really fun to be able to like expand the universe a little bit in that art book. Like coming up with some new characters that are in that book. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fascinating read just to like. So both the art book and the Kickstarter said that the original build of this happened in 3 hours, but neither of them say why.
Oh no, should have clarified a little bit. Yeah, so we start the initial very, very early prototype idea of this game happened at a game jam. It was a 3-hour game jam, which I don't know why we did that. It was an awful idea. Don't try to make a game in 3 hours.
What kind of game jam was this?
What was
the topic, I guess?
I think the theme was
bullet time.
Bullet time, yeah, something like that. So we were like, okay, we're gonna take inspiration from like bullet hell genre, and we like magical girls, so let's do something with characters and they're working together. I don't know. So basically, at the end of this 3-hour jam, we just had like 2 characters floating around the screen, and we had this like projectile going between them. But that was enough to like basically show it to people and play test, and then people were like, oh, this is actually really interesting. And then that's why we ended up working on it for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, one of the things I was wondering about was how early on did you decide, oh, it's a magical girl game? And it sounds like that was almost the thesis.
Yeah, I think so. We didn't have these characters initially. We weren't like, it's magical girls, but I think our first characters that we made for the jam were like a little alien girl and like a space astronaut princess, and like they're working together to save the universe. I don't know. We needed some sort of justification for why they were flying, I guess. So we're like, they're in space.
But it also fit really well into the co-op themes of the game. Like the whole magical girl universe, like Sailor Moon is a good example. It's all the themes around the episodes are usually about like working together and cooperation and togetherness. And that played really well into the co-op nature of the game.
Yeah, so actually I think in our art book we put the like original, I think, sketches or maybe sprite art from that game jam. Of
boxing gloves and baseball bat, yeah.
No, those are the second iteration.
The second iteration. Actually. Oh, my mistake.
Yeah, so we had some even earlier. Yeah, and then when we started being like, okay, they're space magical girls, those were the 2 kind of like prototype characters that we developed. And that sort of solidified the style that we were eventually going to pursue. But when we decided we were going to have a cast of 5 and they were going to be a team, we decided to redesign the existing characters that we had so that they kind of fit together. But yeah.
It does have that like very strong Power Rangers vibe, especially when you see everyone on screen like this.
Yeah. We wanted them to be like squad goals, absolutely. Yeah, that's like when you get like Power Rangers or Sailor Moon, there's always that shot of them with their like, I don't know, their like iconic poses and stuff, and they like pose as a squad. It's just like, it's very good. We wanted that. So
then this game was also like, it was a co-op game from the very, very beginning. I guess what made you interested in making a game of that style?
So that was fun because this project came from a game jam, but it wasn't like certain that this was going to be the game we were going to, work on long term. So we kind of took a moment and like came up with a bunch of ideas for different games, like to see what we'd want to pursue. And we all kind of did this in our own bubbles, but we all came out with like a list of only co-op games for some reason. And apparently like all of our minds were in the same place. We're like, all right, I guess we're doing a co-op game.
Yeah, and I think when that happened, I think it was also very indicative of like the place we were all kind of at in our lives, because we had all, when we formed our studio and started working on this game more seriously, more long term, we had all just graduated from undergrad. And like that's an environment where like, many of you are living in dorms or shared housing, and like it's really gaming becomes like a social event, right, where you're all gathering around on the couch and playing games together. So I think that was just how a lot of us were already playing games, and we wanted more like specifically cooperative multiplayer games that we could play together. So I think that's definitely why like we all kind of had multiplayer stuff on our minds.
Was that before or
That's a
after
work.
you came up with the name Contigo, which also sort of implies
It was before, because then we were like, that name, and like, yeah.
We clearly
so
have a theme
It's a
going here.
great name,
Exactly.
by the way. I have in
Yeah,
my
me
notes, great studio name.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I think like so we've also as a team done a bunch of like smaller like other game jams or like smaller projects together, and we try to keep with the theme of making them multiplayer, just because that's what we're interested in exploring together as a team, and also to make sure that our branding and that name fits as well.
I also want to call out one of our artists is in the chat right now on Twitch.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So Gun Puncher did all of our UI, our backgrounds, did a ton of the 3D art. Super multidisciplinary, awesome artist. So hi, Gun Puncher.
Hi,
Your
Gunsister.
art is great.
I'm also actually seeing a question in the chat log. Sludge Vohal is asking. Oh, sorry, not Sludge Vohal. Amarika is asking, is there a single player mode to this? And I think you said earlier that there is a single player mode.
Yeah, kind of. So yeah, so here's how we phrase it. So this is a 2-player cooperative game. So it's built from the ground up to be, that's the optimal experience to play it. But we wanted to make sure that we were providing a lot of different like controller options and ways to play, so that the game is as accessible as possible for as many people. So one of the control schemes that we offer is a split controller. So this is both so that if you have 2 people and 1 controller, you can still play that way. But it has also enabled people to play single player, right? Using 1 controller and using half of the controller for each character. It is quite challenging.
Mm-hmm.
We just call it like StarCrossed hard mode, but we have seen people do entire story mode runs like that, and I think like one person has even done like a no death run or almost completed one.
Yeah, I think they were like 1 death away. Like they died only once in the game.
Yeah, which is wild to me, because I don't know. I feel like developers are always not very good at their own games. But...
The split controller mode ended up being like a challenge mode.
Mhm.
Speedrun.com.
So-
search game.
That sounds crazy. That's like the rubbing your stomach and patting your head.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Time
Especially during the trying to dodge the boss fights is very tricky.
I will say it doesn't look like there's a leaderboard on speedrun.com for it yet. But
Yet?
I'm seeing 16 people in that chat. If any of you want to,
There's opportunity.
there's an open world record slot.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, actually.
I noticed I was looking at Contigo Games on itch, and there was an earlier title listed on your store page called Signal Strength that I looked at and immediately thought, oh, this is what it was like testing this game in single player.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a smaller project that we developed. Was it like 2 or 3 years ago?
It was a few years ago. But yeah, it was primarily to like showcase and demo some of the tech that's actually in StarCrossed. So it's some of the programming libraries that we kind of use within the game. And that was kind of a showcase piece for that. And almost like an example project to show people like, hey, if you want to use this is how you can go about using it in your game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our other...
That's great ultimate.
Yeah, big star. Yeah, so I want to give a shout out to our other main programmer on the team, Benny Peak, actually developed a lot of really like unique tools that we used to develop this game. So Signal Strength was a smaller project that we used, as Mike said, to like showcase a lot of that tech that Benny had worked on.
Yeah, and I guess getting back to the control scheme and like the single player, multiplayer, the controls for this game are super straightforward. It's 3 buttons and a joystick. You can play it with 2. You can play it alone with a controller. You can play it with 2 players on 1 controller. You can play it with 2 different controllers and 2 players, or sub in a keyboard for literally any of those things. You describe it as a sort of an arcade game, and was that something that also was sort of like part of the initial intent of like, we want to make something that has this like really easy to pick up and play sort of vibe to it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think like initially it was also like a scope decision, right?
Yeah, it was a scope decision, but also a I guess that's still a scope thing. Yeah, I was gonna say a way to keep us like focused on something.
Mm-hmm.
Mental scope is a separate thing, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But like throughout the game, whenever we were making decisions, it was very important to like think about is this playable on an arcade machine? Because I think arcade games are very good at being like, you learn the game in 10 seconds. You have to be able to figure out how to play the game instantly. And if you you put a quarter in a machine and you didn't figure the game out and you died and you just wasted the quarter, there's no fun in that. So kind of keeping it in that scope, I think was very important on making the game very fun and playable as soon as you pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in terms of our overall development, so initially when our team had no resources and wasn't sure what the future of this game was going to look like, our intention was very much to make a small kind of polished thing that we were going to put out. And so that initially only included the arcade mode. So we could just be quick iterations, right? And quick amounts of gameplay. And later on, then we jumped into developing the story mode once sort of the mechanics and everything were already solidified.
But I know Mark, E, and I all saw this for the first time at MagFest last year. But you had been taking this around to the festival circuit for a little while at that point, right?
Yeah, totally. MagFest was so fun, though.
That was our first MagFest.
That was our first MagFest.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a great festival.
It was so good.
MagFest is definitely one of my favorites. But yeah, we brought it to. I remember we made a list of all the conventions we brought it to, and it was over a dozen.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, so for the beginning of probably for most of the time that we were developing this game, the majority of our team was based in the Boston area. So we actually, as soon as we had something playable, like that 3-hour prototype mechanic, we started bringing it to some of just the local indie game dev meetups in Boston. Boston's wonderful because they have a meetup pretty much every week. Sometimes there's 2 a week. There's so many meetups. So pretty much every at least once a month there was some sort of demo night going on. So we were able to bring it and get some feedback and kind of help us guide where we were going to go with it next. So we've been showing this publicly basically since that tiny game jam. And then we started circulating, doing bigger events. I think probably in 2017. Something like that.
I mean, it showed up at PAX really quickly.
We did, yeah.
I don't remember what year that was, but that was pretty quickly after the first prototype was when I first appeared at PAX.
Yeah. Yeah, we really, as a team, we really value playtesting, obviously, and iteration and feedback. And it was also a really great way, we used events for tons of playtesting, right? If we had a certain milestone that we were working towards, and then we were able to bring that build to an event and put it in front of it, tons of people over the course of a weekend, that was a really efficient way for us to be able to do mass playtesting. But also we found that, as a small team that did not have a lot of resources, we were running on basically motivation to finish this game. And we found that just watching people play your game, there's nothing more invigorating, there's nothing better. So watching someone enjoy what you built really gave us the motivation to continue working on it.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention about the development cycle of the game too. Is that we none of the members on this team are full-time on this game. We were all part-time over the 3 to 4 years that we worked on it. So we all had full-time jobs and worked on this in our free time. So bringing to events and getting that motivation and seeing people enjoy the game was super beneficial for the development process of the game.
Yeah, totally. Sorry, our dog just came over, so we're picking her quickly.
Oh, put the dog on camera.
What did the dog do for the game?
I'll make a new name tag.
Yeah, this is Olive. She gave us tons and tons of inspiration and cuddles and support over the course of development.
So when you're sort of taking this around to those playtesting phases, what were some of the sort of big findings you got out of that?
Balancing was a huge thing for us. I think, as Mike mentioned, because we then became a very remote team and very spread out, it was really hard to have consistent playtesting with other people. So Mike would playtest, game balances and enemies and new enemies and things. But he would be doing it solo, and also balancing within the team. You have more experience with the game, so it's never really going to be an accurate representation of someone's first time experiencing that content. So that was really important just for figuring out even this enemy and stuff, watching how players acted when they encountered it the first time, things like that.
At Magfest, the last Magfest that happened, we brought that was the first time we showed the first boss fight, which was the witch. And that was a way harder version of the witch than what ended up in the real game. And it was like,
I remember that boss fight at Magfest.
I felt really bad.
That was like that's the first boss of the game. It was probably harder than like the last bosses currently in the game.
Sorry, Magfest.
And so like we already knew that it was. Here's a dog.
Ow.
Hello.
Okay.
Oh, hi, all.
Puppy.
Are you camera shy? And we already knew that boss fight was harder than it was going to be in the game, but it was still worth bringing it there to see like how much harder is it.
Yeah.
We also had a lot of people who were like, "No, I will beat this boss here."
And they sat there like all night.
There's people who did it like 100 tries until they beat it.
I sure did.
Big ass star.
Magfest is the place for that, right?
Yeah, for
People
sure.
can just sit there all day.
Absolutely.
I think that was my favorite part of Magfest was we set up a computer at our booth that we could leave there overnight. And just like kind of walking, like taking a stroll by the booth at like 3 a.m. just to see. It's like, hey, is anyone hanging out and playing StarCrossed? And it's like, surely there was each night. I'm like, there's always someone hanging out there.
You had those really comfy chairs, though, was the thing.
You remember that was
Our plan was working.
we were like, if we have the comfiest chairs at Magfest, people will absolutely sit down and play our game. And we took those same chairs to PAX, and it also works. So
Good chairs.
very good chairs.
Pro tip if I ever heard one.
Yeah, absolutely. People just want to sit down when they've been walking around a convention for hours. They just want to
Desperately.
sit down. Yeah, so it's a good call, I think.
And you were right next to the inflatable pool full of full of fun pit balls. So if someone was in there, then it's like, okay, well then the backup is let's go sit at StarCrossed.
Yeah, that was the Baby Castle space, right?
Yeah,
Another great NYC organization. So
I don't know. Baby Castles beat us. They had a bed in there, I think, right?
They
They had the
did.
atmospheric bed that you can lay in.
oh my
Yeah, the bed was that was a project by Amanda Huggins. That was a ambient art bed. That was part of the indie arcade.
so good.
I remember
It's so
like
good.
opening up that line in our submission form and just being like, "It's a bed that plays music." I was like, "All right, yeah."
You're like, yes, absolutely.
I reached out to the department head and sort of said like, "Hey, all of our language says games, and can we change that to just be interactive bullshit and like leave it at that?"
Heck yeah. I love like alternative controllers and just like weird hardware. So that was super cool to see. So thank you for bringing that weird bed to MacFest.
And you worked on Hell Couch, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna
Oh
say,
my God. I
Hell
love
Couch
Hell
is
Couch.
so cool.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
I'm obsessed
Yeah.
with it. My
It's the
wife
most
was like, we
insane
can't
idea.
I really wanted it at Wonderville, but my wife was like, I don't know if a couch at a bar is maybe the most like safe sanitary
actually,
thing.
Yeah, because like Carol and I were, my co-designer and developer for Hell Couch, Carol Mertz, we actually talked about this because we had some like bar spaces reach out. I think we chatted with someone from Wonderville for a little bit just to be like, is this feasible? But unfortunately, because the entire couch is wired, if you spill anything on it, it becomes a big fire hazard. So not the best idea for like tipsy people at a bar.
Considered a hell bench.
A hell bench. Yeah, I mean, there could have been some way we could have like maybe insulated or like
Pressure
covered
plates.
up.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, but thank you so much. I love seeing just like whenever people are doing like weird experimental stuff with games. I love it. It's great.
I've definitely used Hell Couch in conversations with MagFest leadership about what if we had games outside of the main showroom floor. So not this year, but expect to hear from me around this time a year from now.
Oh, heck yeah, that'd be awesome. I feel like, our dream for Hell Couch was really that we wanted to hide all the electronics underneath so that it really just looks like an average couch. And our dream was just to like set it up in a random hallway somewhere as like an installation with no indication.
You and I have the same dream, yeah.
Right? It's so good.
It was kind of set up that way at Pixel Pop, right?
It had a sign, but I
Okay.
think at some point the sign was removed. It was
No
something like
sign.
that.
No sign, no
Yeah.
warning.
It's so funny. It's very funny. I also wanted to ask, because we do have the star boosting mechanic. So when the star gets close, you can like give it a little hit. Is that really hard because of the lag?
It's hard
now?
with the lag, yeah.
Yeah,
The
no,
lag, yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
Actually, yeah, check
I
in.
will say we were playing this in practice before this, and it was a little easier because I think I don't know
We're
why.
also streaming,
Probably because the machine's
yeah.
also live streaming. I could try cutting the Discord feed, and we can see if that makes it any better. It might actually be a decent idea, since I do want to make this easier for the players, especially as we're getting into the late game here.
Yeah, totally.
Kicking ass? What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I guess just like if you hit like a story point, actually, we can watch on the stream. We can watch on the
We're
stream.
not really
We have the stream
reacting
open.
live to.
Yeah, I'm gonna
right
pause the
now.
game real quick, players.
Okay.
Sure.
Because it forces you to be paused every time I alt tab away, because Steam handles this responsibly, and you don't get to use my keyboard when I'm not in, not in there.
Oh no.
So-
Also seeing a lot of friends in chat, so
Yeah.
thanks so much for stopping in. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Can I ask a question about story mode?
Yeah.
I was noticing the characters were talking to each other during the cutscenes, and you have 5 characters. Are they all like? Is there individual dialogue for every 2 characters?
Yup.
Yeah, not every
Oh,
single
well.
scene, but a
Not-
majority of the scenes.
Yeah, not every single scene. So the scenes that are with all the entire cast, so those are the same. But depending on which characters you have selected, some of those main story points will have additional dialogues or additional characters that might show up. But the answer is yes. I rewrote this story mode 10 times. So it's a lot of content. I think we did a word count when we were just. I don't know what the final ended up being, but we are over 20K words. So it's like officially like a novella, I think, right? Is like 20K words.
Do you regret this decision?
Yeah,
Of doing the stories?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of writing. It was really difficult. But I think it's like when we decided we were going to do story mode and we really committed, it was because players wanted to get to know these characters and they wanted to see the relationships between them. So I think it's like if we had done it another way, I don't think it would have been as satisfying for the players.
Yeah.
It also gives it a lot of replayability as
Mhm.
well. So
I think that was important too. Like we wanted the game to be replayable with all the characters. We wanted there to be something there that you can look forward to when you're replaying the game, and the dialogue was a huge piece of it. Because like you get the same overall plot of the story,
Mhm.
but there's kind of a inner conflict between each of the characters that's unique to that playthrough, and a lot of those are really fun.
yeah, totally. So thank you for noticing that, because I think like statistically most players will only play a game once, maybe twice. So it was a lot of extra content that we're definitely not expecting players to see. But I think it makes the playthroughs that they do a little more personalized and sort of authentic to the characters.
Yeah, I mean, we all stand Granny in this channel, so.
Heck yeah!
Granny is the shit. Oh, should I not say?
No, you can curse.
Yeah,
You
it's
can curse. It's allowed. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
weird
no, I
context,
think-
but like.
So, Granny is probably the most popular character in the game, actually.
Watching everyone stream the game, like
She's
everyone
just
always
so
like
relatable.
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone's
yeah.
just really excited when Granny comes on screen.
Chat knows. So yeah, Granny is fantastic. So if you have the hero selected in your party, which unfortunately we don't for this playthrough, but when you reach this planet, Matrola, which is Hero's home planet, you actually get to call Granny and be like, "Yo, Granny, are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm totally fine. It's whatever."
I make
Um,
you dinner.
Yeah.
So this is the first boss fight in the game, which is the witch we were talking about. That was super duper hard at Magfest.
Yep.
But yeah, this boss fight's fun. The thing we tried to do with boss fights was to make sure that we are like kind of guiding players in different ways.
Mhm.
So like up until this point of the game, like when we're watching most people play, they tend to always have one character on the left side of the screen, one character on the right side of the screen, and they are playing it kind of like Pong. So an important thing that we kind of made sure to do with all the boss fights was that they have maneuvers that in order to dodge them, you do have to actually rotate around the screen and kind of get comfortable using the whole screen. And by doing that, you're actually opening up the players to more tactics they can do after that point by kind of forcing them to move around like that.
Yeah, totally. We definitely think of, the way that the players move around the screen. It kind of feels like a dance while you're playing this like weird version of like space tennis or something. But it definitely feels like you want to use the entire space, and it's about maneuvering, and you're actually positioning through you're like aiming the star through your positioning. So it's all about where you can exist on the screen. So for, as Mike said, most of our bosses, but also some of our enemies, we wanted to create ways that like they purposefully like section off areas of the screen, or they like limit how you're able to move. So that's how we introduce kind of like additional complexity. Yeah.
You do kind of forget to move other than two directions, right? Because you're so trained from like Pong. But this boss is really fun. I'm having a great time playing.
Yeah.
That ended up being a tricky thing. Playtesting the game was we noticed that like Pong has instilled a lot of things into people that we had to actually break them from, which was surprisingly difficult. So like a lot of people would turn the game on and not notice that the star was homing in on them. And so you see people cautiously moving up and down slowly because they think they have to catch it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is people are not used to being able to cross the middle of the screen. So you'll see people like play for like 20 minutes and they're like, oh, I can go anywhere.
I think your ultimate is better than mine for this one. I'll get up there.
That's a good shot. That right there, yeah.
Big chonky star.
I wanted to mention also you are invincible while the ultimate is happening, because I do see you dodging a little bit, which might be helpful. Yeah, I would say even if you can't get the timing.
All ultimates?
Yes, all ultimates. It's like a moment of like big invincibility and power, so we wanted you to be able to just kind of like fly around, and there's lots of sparkles.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I will say that like even if you can't get the timing exactly right on the star boost, if you kind of like tap the button, it should help you a little bit. So star boosting gives you additional points, but it also makes the star actually go faster, so you can get more hits.
Bigger.
Yeah, it makes the star bigger and faster, so you can take out enemies faster. Which helps a lot, especially with these like bigger health bar enemies as well. So
I'm just gonna spam that button.
Yeah, go for
do it. Spam all the buttons.
If you spam, it should hit probably like 50% of the time, which is like good.
Better than we've been doing. Oh god.
Yeah,
the
and
lag is making the bullet hell dodging a little tricky.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, it is a little bit tricky with lag. Very precise, but yeah, thank you. I wanted to also mention, so there was a comment in chat about the animations and attacks. And I wanted to mention also that so all of the character art and enemy art that's actually in gameplay is 3D. So it lets us do really nice like tweening between animations. So we can have the characters like spinning, and we didn't have to do like frame by frame 2D animations. So that was a really great thing that I think ended up looking really great to have everything be 3D, even though we're kind of presenting it as like a classic 2D arcade game. Oh my god, y'all got it. I believe it. No!
You're so close.
Sorry, I'm a little bit delayed, but I was like,
You're so close. Okay.
Yeah, keeping all the gameplay movements smooth was very important to us throughout the game. Like all the animations smoothly transitioning into each other.
I mean, again, like I wanted it to feel like you were having like a space dance with your partner.
Nope.
I really love the enemy animation you have across the board of all of these like little half robots with their various flaps.
Yeah, so our enemy designs, as well as the 3D models, as well as the animations, were all Dylan. So that's Gun Puncher in chat. As I said, like super multidisciplinary artist, like he could do everything, and like it's just everything turned out super great. I really love the aesthetic of the enemies. So yeah.
I also wanted to shout out Benny's in chat.
Oh yes, Peak as well. Hello, Chi in chat for Granny. Oh my god.
He was our like core programmer on the game.
So how big is Contigo Studios Games?
So our sort of like core team, we have 5, but we also contracted some folks in to help with audio as well. So our core team, we have sort of like Mike does programming and design work, like gameplay design. I do narrative design and production. We have Ori, who does all of our 2D character art and designs. And then we have Benny, who worked on most of the back end systems sort of gameplay for the game. And Dylan, who worked on basically like all of the art that is not the character stuff. And then we brought in some folks to help us with sound effects, music. The music is composed by Alex Parrish, who is fantastic and amazing. And we also brought in another audio designer who helped us do direct the sorry, I'm
Oh,
blanking,
that's
voiceover. So we do have like voice acting for the characters. So we brought someone in to help direct that and edit that content and things.
That was super fun.
Yeah, that was really fun to do.
Well, once we got like voice actors for the characters, and even though they're only doing like a handful of lines per
Mhm.
character, it added so much life to the game.
That was cruel.
Watching. Oh no.
It's okay. It's all good. I love how forgiving the ultimate thing is, because you don't
Mhm.
lose it each
Mhm.
time you die.
Do you want to talk about the sneaky thing you're doing with the ultimate, actually?
Yeah. So actually, this is something we did to kind of like help people through the game a little bit. But when you die, and you respawn, you actually get a free like 10% of your ultimate next time. So that way, if you are getting stuck in a spot, so this is something that we felt strongly about, is that this game is hard. And we wanted to make sure that it was not like punishingly hard.
Mhm.
So we're very generous with checkpointing. And
Yeah, I
like
love that.
you never really lose progress if you die.
Mhm.
And then the same thing with the ultimates. We want to make sure that you, if you do get stuck on a boss, you will be able to start with kind of a free ultimate,
Mhm.
regardless of how how much you had when you got to the boss.
Yeah, but I love how you implemented it because it's a very sneaky thing and almost no player notices it.
Which is the dream, yeah.
Yeah, which is great, but they, we're giving them a little boost and a little bit of help if they are stuck.
Yeah.
But they don't notice it, which is great. Now everyone will notice. Sorry, I've spoiled the secret.
Spoiled
But...
So this was really, I guess maybe not technically the first game from Contigo, but sort of the first. You said that this was your sort of the first game that you really wanted to like put out there as a polished thing, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had been making games together kind of casually for quite some time, and that's why we decided to, formally make a studio and work on a game more long-term together. Yeah, so we had worked on like, a bunch of just like smaller Gam James.
James.
I'm so tired. Game Jam games and other just kind of like more experimental things, mostly with the intention of like learning and self-improvement and to like explore the parts of game making that we found interesting. We were also very like early in our game development career journeys.
Ow.
So then, oh no, now I'm watching.
We're
I'm like,
so close.
what happens?
Okay. The one. This is the one. This is the one.
I'm gonna give one more gameplay tip: is that if you
Okay.
save the ultimate for the second half when it's harder.
Mhm.
Oh no, the stream is behind. I was
Sorry.
saying,
I know. I already did it.
I was been saying it like while you were hitting the button. But yeah, then you can
Next
kind of take
time.
advantage of the invincibility during the harder portion.
So funny.
Yep, fair.
You only just didn't do that thing you just did.
All right, there's one heart for each of you. Just get in there, grab those
Nice,
real quick.
nice. Get those star boosts in
Nope,
there. I
missed it.
believe in you.
I'm waiting. Nope.
Oh, no.
The hearts are taunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a funny
Mhm.
thing that we learned also, is that if you put a heart on screen, people will run through anything to get that heart. We found-
Yeah, it usually resulted in the players dying as soon as they spawned.
If you want to make the game harder, it turns out you just add health pickups.
Yeah.
And that makes the game harder.
Yep. Yeah, because I think initially they spawned like right towards the middle of the screen. That was just like our first iteration of it. And then like, players would just like do a death run straight to the middle. And like it was bad times.
Because you just think like once you make it, you're
Yeah.
good.
And like then I'll be fine.
And you find out you lose 2 hearts to get
It's
that
so
one
true.
heart.
Yeah.
Does the dodge give you invincibility?
It does.
It does.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I have not
so-
been dodging because I'm playing on keyboard and it's hard to hit E on
Oh, no worries.
on
Yeah,
WASD.
so you do have like a little bit of invincibility, so you can use it to even like dodge through bullets. But also just if you need to reposition quickly.
Like as soon as those hearts show up, or maybe sooner, that's when you hit that ultimate.
Steph, you want to say
Well-
hello to the stream?
Hi, Steph.
We're all very stressed out now watching this.
I know.
whole thing.
So
Yeah,
stressed.
sorry, I'll go back to asking questions.
Oh man, no, it's fine. I'm like you can do it.
Sorry?
Power strip?
They're in the closet next to the stage.
Yeah, I think there's a small event happening behind Mark in Wonderville right now.
It's a birthday party, but it's fine.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ah!
The birthday party and a running CNC machine, which has not come in through your mic, Mark, by the way, so we're good on that now.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Making
All right.
digital Kickstarter rewards is really the way to go.
Speaking of, excellent segue. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We learned that one.
So yeah, what made you decide to do a
Ohio.
Kickstarter for this game back in, what was that, like 2018? I think.
I
Is
think it was
that right?
2018. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about 2 years ago now. Yeah. Yeah. So as I said, so we were a team that was working on this game, kind of casually. So we were a remote and like part-time team. We knew that we wanted to work on this more long-term, but we hadn't sought out any like funding or support for the game up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the summer before we did our Kickstarter, we were approached by a publisher who was like, "Hey, I really want to help you get your games onto consoles. Is that something you'd be interested in?" And we were like, "Yes." And then we were like, "Absolutely, right? We're going to take that. We're going to take that deal." But we also realized that by doing that, we were really locking ourselves into more concrete deadlines, and also like, we really had to finish the game, right? We had to make the game and it had to be good and it was going to be on consoles. So we were really like making a big commitment by
We also,
doing that.
at that point, we also increased the scope of the game a bit. That
Yes.
was the moment where we decided that, like, oh, story mode is very important.
Story mode is happening.
for this
Yeah.
game to hit because of, we had all these characters, but if we weren't telling a story with them, it makes the characters a lot less special.
Yeah, absolutely. So we knew we were then committing ourselves to working on this game for at least another year. And at that point, we were like, okay, well, we do need some additional help. We need to bring on some audio contractors. We want to make sure that if we're doing events and promotion, we're not paying that out of pocket from the team members. So that was the point where we decided to do a Kickstarter. And it wasn't a super big Kickstarter. Our goal was 10K.
The heart, the heart. Nice. Sorry.
Heart, yeah.
10K, yes.
It's the run.
Ah!
Match that star boost. I believe in you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm a little bit stressed out, but I'm like, okay, what are you talking
You hit your
about?
10K goal.
But yeah, so that was the point where we were like,
Be
we do need a
really,
little bit
really
of funding in
careful.
order to be able to support the team so that we're
Mhm.
not paying for things out of pocket. And we weren't sure how much the game was going to make as well, right, when it came out. So we wanted to make sure that, if we were bringing in contractors and folks to work on the game, that we were paying them upfront as well. And they weren't reliant on like imaginary maybe revenue later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, being so careful. Ah!
Sorry, I got trapped.
Oh my god.
I love the delayed reaction on the stream.
Sorry.
You can tell.
Was this the
Yeah,
boss we died
definitely.
like 100 times to? If you were at MagFest, yes.
Most likely. Yes. Yes. This version of the boss is significantly easier than the MagFest one, actually.
Except that they're playing over Steam Share Play.
Yeah, except they're
Which makes it
playing-
hard again.
Right. They're competing with the stream and the Discord call for my limited bandwidth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but if you like get that star boost going, you will see that the star it starts to pick up in speed, so you can actually get in more hits over time, so you can do more damage.
Yeah, you're burning through this first half of the health meter real quick right now.
Yeah.
We should just ultimate like now.
Yes.
Hang on.
Try it. Do it now.
Do it now. Why didn't you do it?
Why didn't you
How did
do
I
it?
lose them all?
Oh my god, do it now, do it now.
No.
Because I think yours is better than mine for this one, Mark. But that was
you
good.
have
That
it,
was
though.
good. We just
You have it,
gotta
though.
like ping pong between like this like a
Yeah.
million times, and then we'll
Yeah,
just
you got it.
fucking slam it.
Um,
Ah. When we get to half, we should just do the big star. I think.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, you want to make sure you do it after the
Big star, big star, big star.
transition animation, or else.
You lose some time.
Yeah, because the witch is
Yeah.
invincible when they're transforming into that eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
You go get the
Heck
other heart.
yeah, heck yeah.
Can't see. I cannot see anything.
Oh my god, be careful.
Good heart.
God, I'm gonna
You got it. You're good.
die.
You're good. You're fine.
I am
Where are you?
fine. I'm fine.
I'm so
fine.
scared.
Going for that heart. Oh my god.
I
Okay,
am
you can
really
do it.
scared.
You're good. You're
You can
good.
do
Just
it.
hit it a
Some
few
star
times.
boosts. Just be very careful. Just be. Oh my god, these little swirlies. Oh my god, they got so close.
The perfect bounce.
You're good.
Oh my
You're
God.
good. Just relax
Oh
with
my
the
God.
lasers.
No reason.
Is there
we
just
should have
like
lived
one safe corner that I can hide in?
Oh my god,
I just need one.
Ah!
What happened?
this is so. Wait, what happened? Are you?
What
No!
happened?
Oh, so close.
Ah!
Okay, now I feel like you guys are fucking with me because that's like 1 HP.
That was like the perfect. Okay, up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
up and
You're
down.
learning from every
Working.
one
This
of
is
these, and that's what
totally
matters.
Oh, good lord. Okay.
Was there any fun?
No fun. No fun. No fun.
Was there any fun?
No fun in this stream, thank you.
I'm trying to think if there's any other fun Kickstarter stories.
Oh, yeah, that was what we were talking about, sorry.
Oh, I just died.
okay.
Never mind. Okay.
I guess not. I learned that shipping a lot of physical rewards is very difficult on Kickstarter, which we knew going in.
We knew.
Which we tried to plan our rewards so it was easier. But even with the easier rewards, it was still a lot of work.
Yeah, so we were really fortunate that we had a lot of folks who had done Kickstarters previously who were willing to like chat with us and give us some advice. And like the thing everyone told us was like, just don't do physical rewards, or if you're going to do them, make them like this big so they can go in an envelope. So exactly. So when we initially were thinking about doing physical rewards, we were like, oh, we'd love to do a poster because people really love the art. It's like, what if we had a high tier that was like a t-shirt or something? And I'm so glad we did not do that. Oh no, what's going on?
We
yeah,
lost our
so
mojo
glad.
somehow. Oh, it's
Okay.
because it started out with this move, which is just impossible.
This move is, you cannot.
You're
stop
so
it.
close to him,
dodge.
just move to the far side of the stage.
Yeah, if you get a little bit farther, you have more space.
Dodge through, dodge
But
through,
yeah.
dodge through.
But yeah, so we ended up only doing physical rewards that we could fit in like,
Standard.
a pretty small
It's like
little
11
envelope.
by
Yeah,
something.
so and we did all of the research on like how much does the envelope cost even and things like that.
How much is shipping?
How much is shipping? Yeah, it's really hard. A lot of planning goes into Kickstarter rewards that I think we underestimated initially.
Okay.
But
And
yeah.
also, like, if you have different combinations of tiers, making sure the right combinations of things go in the correct envelopes, which is like, it's a simple sounding thing, but when
It's
you're
just a
dealing
lot
with,
of
like,
work.
100 of them, it's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think even because
Ah.
we did we had 300 something backers, and I think what was it like 100
120-ish.
120ish got physical rewards, and even that like having to do that all by hand and like take them to the post office and
Yeah.
mail them out and like get all those shipping label stickers.
That was
and
also
things like
fun. I
that.
was in New York City and I had like 3 like grocery bags, like of the reusable bags, like filled
Like
with
getting on the
envelopes.
subway,
and I'm like,
like-
heading on the way to take to the post office.
Yeah, I
Totally.
remember when the Wonderville sound booth was just a bunch of boxes of t-shirts for like a month and a half.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
And 3 different artists, and a women's cut, and a unisex cut.
you're like so
I
much.
don't
Oh, and then the
Um,
men's cuts were too small or something, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
Such a problem.
I'm very glad we did not do t-shirts because also figuring out like managing size orders and having to put it just like no.
It's
So,
cool how
yeah.
like every time I hear about someone doing a Kickstarter for a game, they always say like, yeah, and I had like my Kickstarter guru friends. Everyone knows someone else who's done a Kickstarter and tells
Yeah.
them don't do physical.
Yeah. Yeah, and also just like guidance on like how do you plan all the costs, right? Like how do you know how much you should be setting as your goal even.
Right, right.
You don't want to accidentally lose all your like crowdsourced money to fulfillment,
fees
and then it doesn't
and-
actually go into the development, which
Yeah,
is the
exactly.
whole purpose of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And I think we were able to talk to some of the folks at the NYU Game Center, and then we also talked with Anya, who's on the Kickstarter team, and she gave
Oh,
us
she's
like
great.
so much good advice. Anya's wonderful, so we're really really grateful. She's actually in like the special thanks because I was like, we could not have done this without you. Thank you. But yeah, so we were really fortunate.
Yeah, it's cool that Kickstarter does so much work into like actually meeting with people who are putting these things together and saying like we all want this to work. We all want this to work out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They also set up they set up the awesome Kickstarter lounges at PAX East.
Yeah.
Where like it's always the best space at PAX because it's always like chill. It's like kind
You
of
can sit
quiet,
down.
stoned down. They have couches.
Yeah.
They set up.
They have the
best
comfortable
space at
chairs,
PAX.
just like
They
you.
do.
Yeah.
That's why I'm there. Yeah, that's great. But yes, we were able to show with them. Was that 2019?
I forget years. I think it was 18.
What year is it? I
19
literally
was
don't
the
know.
last PAX.
Yeah.
So I think it was 2018.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, that was nice. That was an awesome space.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, big star, big star, big star, big star, big star, big star. Yes.
Did it.
Whew, oh my god.
Yeah.
Wait, it
Got the
happened?
heart.
Oh my god, I'm delayed.
Oh, I'm gonna get this.
No, we didn't actually
Do a
win,
little drum roll.
but
My drum roll will be delayed.
Oh well, yeah, that's true.
No, it was a good big star. You got to heal up a bit while it happened.
big star. Oh, and now we did.
Lasers
Oh my
are
God.
brutal.
Uh,
So speaking of massive financial things that were probably a real pain in the ass to coordinate.
This sounds like a great topic.
Sounds like
Love
video
it.
games.
So you released this game in what, June, I want to say?
So we actually released the Steam and itch versions in February.
Okay.
The weekend before Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
or
because
week
we
of
wanted to be out
Valentine's
for Valentine's Day. We did a big push for that. And then our console versions, so Switch and Xbox One, those came out late April, I think.
And then you took like a month off and said, okay, let's do something else with a lot of money that's confusing and put together this games bundle.
Yes. And then also immediately after that, I launched another indie game with a separate team. So there was we don't like to chill. We can't just always staying busy. But yeah.
Yeah, so I would love, like, this is the Black Lives Matter support bundle. You
Mhm.
raised $113,781.36.
Yeah, which was wild.
It was-
I just want to say that, yeah, I'm super grateful that, so we have 20 games in this bundle from really fantastic indie developers and indie teams. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that, the folks that I reached out to wanted to give a game and like donate and like contribute to the bundle. So definitely without them, this would not have happened. So yeah, our initial goal was
so
5,000.
Initial goal
I
was
didn't realize that was you guys until Matt just said it. I definitely contributed to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we did this bundle, and then I think a couple weeks later or
A couple weeks
something,
later, Itch had the one.
Itch did their massive bundle, which was also incredible, and I think raised like $4 million?
I think it was insane.
It was, like,
Yeah.
it was just like
Going.
it was incomprehensible.
And that was
how
the
much
one
money
that was
they
like
raised.
700 games and
For like
Yeah.
$1. I was
Yeah.
like,
People
what?
had to make tools
Oh,
to
big
help
star.
them
Yeah.
find games that are in the bundle.
Yeah. So yeah, that was also absolutely incredible. It's just such a good marketplace and such a good community. So yeah, but so our initial goal, we were like, hey, we've got 20 games. I think we can raise $5,000. I think if we push really hard, we can do it, and it'll be great. And then I think we hit that within the first like 8 hours or so. We were like, oh,
I
okay.
think we're at like 50K in like the first day or two.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But yeah, just like, again, really grateful. There's a lot of really fantastic games in this bundle, and a lot of developers who
Mother
have been.
Jesus.
Oh no! What happened? No!
I was actually looking at them on Discord and I couldn't tell if that was a positive or negative.
Ah!
we could
Alright,
we
get
could
those
We're
star boosts.
consistently getting to that same point
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
almost.
we could also
Yeah.
check
Get those
out
star
our,
boosts.
Barely doing
Don't
it.
don't stay too close. Big star, you got it. That's it. You got it.
we could also
Yeah.
check out arcade mode anytime y'all want to, but it's sort of player's choice.
Now
I
we're
can
kinda
I
like,
could see this going
just
either
gotta
way.
finish this.
This is a
Wait,
pretty good
so
But
run.
yeah, I was.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
was gonna
Fish.
say, can we talk about arcade mode? Like, are you developed this as an arcade game,
Mhm.
which is really cool. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever thought about it as an installation, as an arcade?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Do you want to go get your weird like box of buttons that you?
Yeah, I'll
made?
show you. I'll get my prototype.
This is the
Also,
content we're here for.
Yeah, no, we have absolutely been thinking about that for a very long time, and actually, like we were chatting with Wonderville about potentially getting the game into Wonderville for a while. But yeah, we just
arcade.
we just like we really would love to do that at some point, and like yeah, Mike
This has been my
literally.
recent project,
did this-
just to make sure the game plays well on like joystick buttons. I set
Oh,
up this
shoebox,
like nice
yeah.
little.
Careful, because our address.
Oh, cool.
Also,
No, no, it is a joystick sticking out of the address. You
yeah,
can't see
okay.
it.
But yeah, we just we definitely think that, and we also like I wanted to mention that We demoed the game at GDC as part of the ID at Xbox booth, and they gave us one of their what is it called? The adaptive controller.
Oh, I love that thing.
I love it so
It's
much,
so cool.
and it plays so well, and it works really great with StarCrossed because of the limited amount of buttons.
Is that a victory?
I saw a victory.
That's a victory!
Yay!
Thank you for the people on stream for all your patience.
Wow.
Oh my god. Can we get some hype in the chat?
So happy.
Oh, I accidentally put a Titus in
That's
there.
fine.
Sorry about
Titus is
that.
pretty out there.
Sorry, accidental Titus. That's how it is sometimes.
But yeah, they had the adaptive controller set up at their booth, which is awesome. So every game that was set up there had a normal Xbox controller, but also the adaptive controller that anyone can use. And it was like our game was like designed for it, even though we never used the thing before.
Yeah, it was really easy to set up and use with StarCrossed, specifically because of the like low number of like actual inputs that we have. And then that was also when we were like, oh yeah, this game, if you can big buttons,
it
we
feels
love
like
it.
better
so
on
good.
it because it's just like big star boost button.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, like, as someone who builds arcades, I would love the art on this cabinet. Like, it's just, it lends itself to such beautiful side art,
Yeah, absolutely. That's like our dream. We've been envisioning this for years. So I hope someday we can make it happen.
I'm currently like looking at the feasibility of it and like if what in-game changes we need to do in order to support it, as well as, the actual cabinet construction.
Yeah.
There are a ton of people in the Discord that you're now in who can help you answer some of those questions, by the way.
This is true.
Perfect.
This is true.
Also, the CNCing that's happening behind me is going to be the Wonderville rotating cabinet. So we'll be putting different arcade games on it each month once, life is back to normal.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, those dang birds. Sorry, we're a little bit behind, but
The birds are tricky.
they're very tricky.
Especially in the purple background. Oops.
I'm gonna run and feed Olive really quick. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Thank you. Taking control.
Yeah.
So, how long is story mode? Like, how many bosses? Like, how many levels?
Yeah. Oh my God. I actually, Mike is gonna have to answer like how much actual content is in there because it's been a while since I've actually gone through all of it. I think like an average playthrough for folks usually ends up being around an hour and a half to complete one round of story mode. How many boss fights do we have? Is it 5? Am I remembering that off the top of my head correctly?
I think it's 3.
Boss fights?
B Peak says 4 bosses. I forget levels.
Thank you, B Peak. It's 4. We were in between.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but they were asking about like number of bosses and like amount of levels or stages. So do you want to talk a little bit about the balancing of that content?
I think it's why that Benny had that number. Like Benny will never forget that number because he coded all the
bosses.
He
had to code all the bosses, so yeah.
Yeah, so the balance of like we tried to pace the story mode so that way you are like of course ramping up in difficulty, but also you're being introduced to new enemies as you progress through the game. So making sure that you so for instance, like the birds are introduced a little bit after the eyeballs and the spirals. There's some enemies you haven't seen yet. Probably some of people's favorites are like the laser walls and the sniper enemies. By favorites, I mean absolutely not their favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ramping up in boss difficulty was very important to make sure that it feels, like fair when you hit a boss and you see their new maneuvers. We're back. Sorry.
Back.
Distracting all
She's being really rude today, I think because we're like talking excitedly. She's like, hey, I want to hang out. Can you chill, please? Chill. Thank you.
I think most people's favorite boss
between the princess and the outlaw.
Most people's favorite boss is probably the second boss, the scientist.
Yeah,
which we may see
I think that's probably my favorite. And I was going to say also, so the princess and the outlaw is probably one of my favorite character pairings to write as well.
You can say ship. This is a mature
even though there's no granny.
Yeah, no, I think it's just like writing that content. It's a very classic trope of that kind of like enemies to lovers kind of thing, right? It's just like it's very easy to write for me at least, and I think it's a lot of folks just like they love that. So it's a lot of fun.
I was blanking on things to say about the progression. I realized I could talk about the most important thing that I haven't talked about yet. The story progression is like a mix of curated content, but also procedurally generated content. So like the boss fights will always happen at the same points, and then when enemies are introduced, we try to tutorialize them at the same points in the game, so you're never like unexpectedly finding an enemy you're not supposed to. But there's also like these in-between waves which are procedurally generated, so that's why every time you restart, you're getting kind of a different onslaught of enemies coming at you. And that was fun to
That's
balance,
awesome.
trying to find a system that, ramps up in difficulty. And we use that system for the arcade mode as well, because that's an endless arcade mode. It has to be procedural at some point. And that was really fun to design and playtest.
Yeah.
And that's also perfect for something where you really want people to be playing this campaign more than once, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was very important.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think to even expand upon that, like you will see sometimes that enemies spawn in certain like clusters or patterns. So those are handmade by Mike, and we call those enemy chunks, and we kind of mix those into the procedural generation system to be able to spawn in like interesting patterns of characters as well.
Yeah, because
Love
if you
this
just
guy.
do pure... this guy's fun. Because if you just do like pure random enemies, it's not fun, and you can get the player stuck in like weird situations where it's unfair. But by doing a mix of kind of curated and not curated, it makes it feel dynamic while also fair.
Yeah.
And you can get the interesting behaviors. Like there's a lot of times where, what's a good example? There's like the wall of shields that's enclosing a eyeball enemy, and it makes it hard to hit the enemy that's shooting the bullets out. I think I do some fun stuff with the birds too, where they spawn in all four corners. So that way, there's no way you can get all the birds before they dash at you, and it makes you have to do some fun dodge maneuvers to get away from them.
I've even just been noticing the pinwheels are spawning in like long segments that are extremely satisfying to destroy.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
that's
when you
another
line
point,
it
like,
up, so good.
Oh, we
like
have our
setting these
ultimate
up-
ready. Yeah, let's just do it.
Setting up these chunks is not just to make the game harder; it's also to make it feel fun as well. And so, like the swirl lines are just super satisfying to line up and hit all of them in a row.
Die.
Get him!
Oh no.
Heck yeah! I wanted to also mention, so there was a comment about love the backgrounds, and then I see Gun Puncher did a little smiley because Gun Puncher made our backgrounds. But I also wanted to mention that so we have kind of like core location backgrounds in story mode that are like for the big scenes, right, of like special locations that, events happen. But all of these like interstitial backgrounds, they were actually named by our Kickstarter backers. So we had a tier where you could actually name a part of the Nova Galaxy.
That's
And we
cool.
got some really cute and fun background names. So you'll see when you go into a new area, there will be a little like a name tag that pops up. And in arcade mode, that's all randomized as well. So you might find the portion of the galaxy that you named.
So much better than mine.
Well, yours covers more area.
Yeah, I think like for a single enemy, the big star tends to be the way to go. But if you're taking out, but if you're taking out like lots of little enemies, then like princesses is good because you can kind of like shuriken around the screen really
You
fast.
take care of two different parts of the screen at one time.
Exactly. Yeah, and we wanted that to be a conversation, right? That like players were having of like which ultimate is better for this situation. So, sorry, go ahead.
I noticed that, so we've not been given the opportunity to change characters at all. Is that because you want us to play through the story with these two specific characters?
Yeah, because this was something that we talked about a lot actually when we were initially designing story mode and figuring out how the narrative design was going to work. Because we wanted initially, we were going to have this thing where like you could swap characters at any point, but like the more time characters spend together, they kind of like social link up and stuff like that over the course of the story. But we found that just like this sort of like playing through the entire story as specific pairing, it really enables me as the writer to build off of like previous topics that they've discussed, or if in a certain conversation I want to explore like a tension point, then we can have a resolution to that tension later on in the story. And also when we started thinking about like, okay, if characters can swap in and out, then we need different versions of this scene with different characters, but we also need different levels of intimacy for each of the pairings. And then I was just like, no, we're not doing that. That's where I draw the line. But yeah, it was definitely something we considered.
Alexia wants to know if you have any favorite pairings.
Who's yours actually? I'm curious. Who's your favorite character to start with?
My favorite character is the hero, and my favorite pairing is the hero and the outlaw, because they're both like joking and sarcastic, but in totally different ways. And I think that's really funny.
Yes. Thank you.
Because they both are like, they kind of have a very similar personality, but in like entirely different tones. And I think that's a funny pairing.
Just to give a sort of barometer for folks who haven't played the game yet, which is your favorite Sailor Scout then? So people know like the sort of
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like we really wanted all of the characters to have like very kind of different personalities or like takes on like kind of like how they communicate. So we have some characters who are very blunt and straightforward, and some who like the outlaw, who are just like very sarcastic and just like very much like, oh yeah, whatever. It's fine. He's kind of like the jock of the group, I would say. And then we have Hero, who is like we say it's like the Naruto character of like that like endless optimism and like everything's cool and like I'm the hero, it's fine. So having that sort of like conflict with other characters who are maybe a little bit more like on the realist side.
The hero's like, I don't know how I'm going to solve this problem, but I'm going to do it.
It's already handled. Don't worry about it. Yeah, absolutely. So, and just as a quick tangent now. So now we are encountering the twins, who are some of Outlaw's past companions when she was running about the galaxy, committing crime and causing havoc. So
They just killed her instantly.
Oh my god! With like 1 health. Oh my god! Brutal.
spectacular hair on those two.
Thank you. Yeah, they ended up also being really popular once we like announced those character designs. But so this is a situation where like you'll always encounter these characters and always have, you know, a dialogue with them initially. But because we have Outlaw in our party, afterwards you'll see that we tack on an additional bit of dialogue, so you get a little more of insight into like their relationship and their conflict. Yeah, I super love the twins. Yeah, I would say Outlaw is definitely my favorite character. I don't know if I have a favorite pair,
really,
to be honest. Yeah, because I think for me, like writing them, I really had to delve into like what's interesting about this pair and like whatever. So I don't know if I have a favorite one.
I think the outlaw and the princess have a good dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely into the princess to lovers. Like, if we talked about that earlier, but like, I think that's such a good like relationship dynamic trope. So it's definitely something that, you know, I had a ton of fun writing. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other ones that were interesting. I feel like the weapon and the outlaw are also pretty interesting as a dynamic. So the weapon ends up being, you know, asking a lot of questions. They're discovering the universe for the first time.
I was gonna say dash.
No, you can also dash out of it.
I dashed
Yeah,
poorly.
hit the thing in the middle.
I mean, that's a situation where you really need like, you need your partner to back you up and like come and help you kind of like get out of that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other heroes.
Oh, are we running low on time such that we should be in arcade mode just to...
Oh, I have no idea what time it
See?
is. Wow, it is.
It's like 8:15, so yeah, maybe we could check out arcade mode. Let's
Yeah, totally.
Whatever
we
y'all
die.
want to. Let's give this one 2 more shots. How's that sound?
Okay.
I believe in you.
I believe in us.
I was wondering, would it be like a logistical nightmare for Mike and I to try playing on the half controller control scheme?
Nah, that'd be fine. Probably.
Okay, because maybe I'm wondering if
that would probably be
fine, maybe.
Well, because I'm wondering if we're experiencing lag, but it's the same lag. Maybe that would be
Possible.
easier.
Let's
That's
try it.
true. Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I do have Steam booted up.
It's not gonna send. Cool. It's not sending my Steam overlay to all of the viewers. So I think I sent you a friend request right before we started.
I need to plug this in. Is that all good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did accept that, so we should be good to go. Possibly. Oh, I think it did not confirm. Let me do that. Okay, now we're good to go.
Okay,
Sorry about
cool. I was like, possibly.
Possibly, I think. I don't know.
Now I just need to actually find you in here. One sec.
Okay.
While I'm doing this.
Oh,
there we go.
She's also she's invisible.
Yep, and that's okay. We got there.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Actually, I'm gonna end the current remote play session and start a new one here.
Okay.
Remote play together. But you are. Invite sent. Then I get to do this thing where I just like, I think I can just drag this gamepad icon. Sorry to stream, I'm not going to actually go through the work of getting the overlay to go to stream. But suffice to say, I've got this cool window where it says invite sent, and that's blinking.
Okay. It said I could not connect, so we might have to try one more time. The joys of remote play. Let me see. Play.
Loading in.
It's loading.
You're in.
I hear music.
You're in. And
Controller.
okay, and you now also have a controller.
Yes.
It looks like you might
I
be
can get it.
controller 2. I'm going to try to see if I can change that so that you're controller 1 instead. Because I imagine
Absolutely.
you want to be controller 1.
Yeah,
If you could swap us over to actually be the split controller.
I can do that in the settings once I see the screen.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
actually,
yeah. Here, let's just see. Is it working?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go back and we will... Do you want to maybe back out? Would that be easier? Okay. 2 controllers detected. Oh, is it because you...
I know.
Yeah, you may have to unplug that.
Okay, thank you.
I fixed it.
I do have to say that, like,
Nice.
while
Okay.
this was really important to us to support, like, different control schemes and things, it made a nightmare just, like, trying to figure out, making all of this work.
Yeah, there's
and
so
also,
many...
like, God.
It was difficult on just PC, but then when we had to think about the consoles also, when they have different button imagery, and we have to tell the players how the game works, we have to swap out all the imagery, and then also all the console holders have their own rules about how you represent their controllers.
Yeah.
There was so many
It was such a
problems.
time.
we ran
So
into.
we are now going to be playing split controller. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Where we're going to be playing like this. All right, I'm ready.
Ready?
Yeah, this controller is a little big for my hand.
I'm the princess.
Okay, so let's see if okay. The lag is, I think, less bad because we're not doing it over
It sure
over
is
time
there, though.
time and space. It's a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's get that star boost up. I'm gonna. Oh, sorry, we both went
Oh
through.
no, we didn't communicate.
We did not
I was about to say,
Sorry.
this is the level of communication we've been missing.
We did not communicate. Sorry about that. I'm gonna try to get over here.
Pro level StarCrossed right now.
Gosh.
So there's also a fun, it's kind of a risk-reward balance in this game, where
Going in.
the closer you
going
get
in.
to the enemies, the more damage you can deal because the star just happens to be passing through them more often, which makes like trying to speedrun interesting because you're putting yourself in the most harm in order to deal damage faster.
Mhm.
I'll make the category on speedrun.com. I won't submit a run, but I'll make the I'll set everything up.
We have an ultimate in like 2 seconds. Do you want me to? Oh God! Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, whenever you want.
Okay. Please star boost. Please star boost. Please star boost.
I'm trying.
Please, I'm pushing the button. What is the button? I forgot. Oh my God! Wait. Who are you going for? Which one? This one.
Both
one.
of them.
No, this one.
We aim for both of them and hit none of them.
Oh my God! Thank you. I slammed every button on the controller because I forgot what the button was. So sorry. Here you go. If you want to click through the dialogue.
Thanks.
Yeah. So
Well,
this
you
is
guys
a
are really
moment
good at
where.
this.
Thank you. This is a lot of practice. Yeah, but this is a moment where like normally they'd be like, we kicked your butt, and then they fly away. But so we're seeing more of an intimate sort of dialogue between the outlaw and their former comrades and things. So yeah, and I love these characters' designs a lot. As a quick like StarCrossed lore thing, these characters actually like canonically do not have names, and I believe
I'm ready for this quiz. I got it.
Oh,
Shorts and hot pants.
because you were the shorts and hot pants. Oh my God, thank you. I'm so glad that someone really like delved into our lore.
How could I
art
possibly
book.
scroll past that hair? Come on.
Oh my God, I appreciate that so much. Yeah, so like that was the name that we used for them internally with the team, but even in the Unity project, it's like shorts and hot pants. And
Matt is so prepared.
It's a cool
I
art
appreciate
book.
that. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
much research.
I mean, thank you for documenting the like design and development process of your game and sharing it. It's super cool when game devs
of
do that
course.
stuff.
Yeah, it was also because we did that. After the game had launched, we finally had time to throw that together, right, and like make this art book. And it was also a really great way for us to kind of look back at what we had done and all the kind of like silly things like shorts and hot pants that we had done. So but yeah, so it was also a good kind of retrospective for us as well. Oh my god. Oops, sorry. Yeah, but I think
Oh. That didn't work.
yeah, but we're super happy to now that you aren't playing, if you do have questions, because I know it's hard to like coherently think of like questions and have conversation when you're playing this. So
we are sort of coming up on the end of the 90-minute block here.
Right.
I did want to do something that I value a lot in this, which is sort of say, hey, do y'all have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, absolutely.
And also,
do you mind if...
oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask Mike, do you mind if we pause while we do that?
Yeah.
So I can have my brain back. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I know specifically something that I was looking for an opportunity to bring this up and the window didn't really open, but I would love to hear more about Code Coven because I think what y'all do is super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy to plug that. Yeah, so I guess as a quick like outroduction, so I'm Francesca. I'm primarily a game designer, but so for this project, I worked as the narrative designer, the writer, and producer primarily. But yeah, as something that I do on the side outside of my independent development work and my day job, I teach like intro to game development and coding classes. So I currently work with an organization called Code Coven. We're entirely remote and online. So we have students from all over the world, which is really great. And we specifically run like classes, workshops, and online boot camps for game developers of marginalized genders. So hoping to tip the statistics, a little more to be equal and really helping folks get interested in technology to begin with so that they know that they can pursue game development and coding as a potential career choice. So yeah, I'm really passionate about the work that I do with that. I think everyone can make games. I know we're really passionate about teaching. So yeah.
My outro is going to be so much shorter than
Sorry.
yours.
I can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I know also We Should Talk is out now, and it's super fucking cool.
Thank you so much.
A fascinating dialogue system in there. Oh my god.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so We Should Talk is another indie game that I recently released. It came out in July, I think. God, all my time is very much like warped. I believe it was July. But yeah, so that's a game. It's a short form narrative, a game about the nuance of communication. So it's made, it's based on this mechanic where you're like modularly putting together sentences as dialogue responses. Yeah, we actually were just nominated for the upcoming IndieCade Festival. So I'm super jazzed.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super jazzed about that. Yeah, it's been really cool to see people yeah, like play the game and stream the game, and like it touches on some more like serious topics. StarCrossed is very lighthearted, which made it, easy. It's easy to write and engage with. But We Should Talk deals with like some more serious topics and about like navigating relationships. So yeah, but it's really cool just to see people engage with that.
Did you plug your non-digital game also?
I can't talk about that yet.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was playing We Should Talk right after finishing Heaven's Vault, and it was just like, yes, more language games.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I as you can tell, I'm just like super into narrative. I recently started a job at Flowbright, so again, I'm like narrative. But yeah, so really enjoying that. I guess sorry, I can't plug that, so I can't talk about what we're doing with it right now.
Yeah, just the game existing.
Yeah, so I'm also working on a tabletop game, which is an ongoing project. You can find us on Twitter. We're at PlayChroma. So it's a tabletop like strategy game, but you play it through color blending with acrylic pieces on a light board. So cool strategy, territory capture gameplay, but also just like visually really cool because it lights up. So again, just like things that are like pretty.
Sorry, was at PlayChroma?
Yeah, it should be at PlayChroma on Twitter. Yeah, and then Hellcouch also happened, and like, man, we've been talking about wanting to do more alternative controller stuff. So like, hopefully in the future, I'll get back to that as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Should I do my quick?
Yeah, tell
my
us
quick
Yeah.
things you want to plug.
Yeah. I don't have anything to plug. So, yeah, my name is Mike. I was the programmer and gameplay designer on StarCrossed. And then my Twitter is @MikeFlude. And yeah, you can follow me there. I'm currently working on Two Dots, which is a casual mobile puzzle game. And yeah, that's my day job. I'm working at Dots there. So you can check that out on Google and Google Play and Apple App Store. And then on the side,
We're working on more games.
working on some more games. We
No
just
more
did a game
games,
jam recently.
non-stop.
Nonstop.
Yeah,
Oh,
outside of it, I'm currently like investigating StarCrossed to see what work would go into setting up an arcade cabinet, but there's no concrete plans there. That's still in an investigation phase.
Exploration, yeah.
And outside that, yeah, we've just been doing some game jams recently, which has been a lot of fun.
Mm.
Right,
Absolutely.
everyone check out, do you have a name for it? Yes, Cosmic Delights. Everyone check out Cosmic
Cosmic
Delights.
Yeah, we did that as part of the Wholesome Games Jam. And then Mike actually worked on a different project, which was called Iku.
Yeah.
Which means go in Japanese, which is a really cute game about a tree spirit climbing a tree and not giving up, and it's very cute.
You're a tree spirit climbing a tree. You can't give up. Got to get to the top. And as you're on your way up, you find a whole bunch of other tree spirits who are doing the same thing and helping you along the way. So it's very just like positive, wholesome, and nice.
Yeah.
And then we were also experimenting with like kind of a PlayStation 1 aesthetic to
Which
it.
I love.
And I think
that's
that ended up
nice.
looking really cool.
That's a good target.
It's extremely cool. There's actually a game jam that happens on Itch. I think this is the second or third year they're doing it, but it's specifically horror games in that PS1 style. I can't remember the name of the jam, but it just started, and I'm like, I want to do it. I can't, but I want to do it.
Yeah, shortly after this, I'm going to tweet about it because I haven't actually tweeted the finished game jam game yet. So I'm going to get some nice gifs and put that on Twitter.
Yay. Awesome. Yeah. We need different hobbies, maybe.
It's fine.
I'm just calling myself out. I didn't actually say where you can find me, but on Twitter, I'm @Chesky, so it's CESCHI.
I'm timing this perfectly with it being on the stream right next to you.
Thank you!
Hey.
So we have the game still covering the stream, but thank you so much for dropping links. Hi, Olive. We're almost done. Yeah. She's like, please pay attention to me. Yeah, actually,
Olive
let me
have something that she wants to plug.
Olive, what would you like to plug today? What's your favorite toy?
What is your favorite toy? Probably we have that weird dog thing from IKEA that we have. But awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for linking stuff in the chat. I appreciate that. Yeah.
E, Mark, anything you want to plug?
No, but I wanted to say I really also just appreciate the outfit designs for all of
Thank
these
you.
characters, because so often like female video game characters are like overly sexualized and like with the, you know, not so practical tiny bikinis. And
Heck
so
yeah.
I like these outfits. I
Thank
would wear all
you.
of these.
Yeah, I mean, even when we looked at like, you know, Sailor Moon, right, as reference, it's like you get the very, very tiny mini skirts, and we wanted to bring like some of that sort of like feminine and like frills into the designs of some of these characters. But we also wanted to make sure that they really represented like their backgrounds narratively and also their personalities. And I'll also say really quickly, since we're talking about outfits, if you finish story mode with certain characters, you can unlock different outfits. So they each have a special kind of like squad outfit that you can get.
Yeah, the squad outfit it's not quite like Sailor Moon where they're all wearing the same uniform, but it's closer to that where it's more of a unified aesthetic to them.
Mm-hmm.
You can also get that content by buying the art book.
Yeah, if you just want to look at them and admire them, yeah, it's in the art book.
Alexia says the art book is lovely. Is there a link for the art book?
Thank
I don't see
you.
it.
I
Am I
can send
able-
one right now?
Okay, great, thank you.
If you drop the Steam link, you link to all of it.
Yeah.
Or the itch link.
The Art of StarCrossed. There it is.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so it's available both on Steam. You can buy our art book and our soundtrack, and you can also get the art book on Itch as well. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we put a lot of love into that, so I'm glad that folks are appreciating it.
Mm-hmm.
Good art book. It's just got like the structure of it is very fun. I like the little
you.
call out. Like it also feels very personal. It's
Mhm.
like I've never met Dylan, but I've read a bunch of things.
That's super true. Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to put together. yeah, and as I said, also just like revisiting all of like the initial sketches or the iterations. I think like the iteration of our logo is in there, and like, damn, 4
Yeah.
years ago we did not know anything about graphic design, and that was a mess. I can't believe we printed business cards with that
I
logo
think we
on
spent
it.
money on banners with that logo on it.
Yeah, so just like looking back, I'm like, man, I'm so embarrassed that we showed this game to people like 3 years ago, because we worked so hard on it and it's improved so much.
I'm not gonna open this up on the stream itself, but like,
I think we had a page of
Hold on.
screenshots on there.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
it is.
there it is.
Those are our different iterations. Yeah, so I'm very happy with where it ended up. But yeah, so just like, yeah, we're really just like showing everything, all of our bad art and design choices.
way to do it. Clear the record. It's all out there now.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
We're doing oh, sorry.
We're over time.
We're over time. Yeah,
No,
I was
say
like,
it. Say your thing. Say your piece.
We were also tweeting like the screenshots of the game at one point of how
Mm-hmm.
they evolved over time, and just looking at like early screenshots of the game versus new ones
Yeah,
is so
yeah.
funny to look at. I think we have a page in the art book.
You do,
comparing
yeah.
some views of the game.
Yeah.
And that's also just wild to see that. It's like, wow, we were bringing that places, and it looked like that.
Yeah, we thought it looked good, and like other people thought it looked good, and it was good for
Mhm.
where we were at that point. But
Yeah.
yeah, we
I mean,
showed that to people.
If you have this after 3 hours of work, that's pretty damn good. Like,
yeah, like yeah, I think that was after we had worked on it. I think like for casually for a month or so after the
Mhm.
jam.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, we showed that to people. We brought that to events, and people thought it was fun, and their feedback really like guided future development. So yeah, I definitely am someone who likes to show my games and my prototypes early and often. I know not all people feel that way, but I find it, I don't know, it helps me.
you get the motivation and you get to learn if
Mhm.
anything is busted.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we all got to hang out finally for
Yeah.
for more than like saying hey at MagFest or at an NYC event. So yeah, and thank you so much for playing and
At
inviting us.
Wonderville.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe sometime soon when we get
yeah,
everything
that would be
together.
fantastic.
Come back to New York.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm
Yeah.
there. I'm already there, but not yet. After COVID, I'll be there.
Dropping in the chat now, playstarcross.com. Your
you.
one-stop shop for buying this game, buying the art book. Finding out how to get it on your Switch is probably in there too, or you just do it at the store. I don't really know how that process works. I don't know what URL you share, but whatever.
Yeah, no, that's a great place to go.
Nailed it.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining, and Twitch chat, thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll see y'all back on this channel in 2 weeks. Except not all of us, not Cesca and
Like
not,
and
not Cesca and Mike,
subscribe.
but some of us will be back in 2 weeks. Like and subscribe, smash that bell, you know the drill. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.